this is John Culler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have a very special treat for you. We're going to do a juice off. I love doing juice offs where we compare juicers head to head in not only yield tests but also just in general to share with you how the different juicers work. There's many different kinds of juicers and they all work a little bit differently, and that's why I'm here today to show you how these two machines work. So on this side we have the Vert 350 HD, that stands for heavy duty. This is a heavy duty juicer. And on this side over here we have the Juice Fountain Elite, the 800 JEXL model. So this model, you may be aware, gets fairly high reviews from people that review juicers. And there's probably a pretty good reason for that. I mean, for what it is, it works fairly well. But in my opinion, you know, this one is definitely also a really good juicer. So when selecting a juicer, there are many criteria that you may want to consider. One of the criteria may be yield. You want to get a juicer that makes a high yield. But every juicer works a little bit differently, and some juicers may yield more on certain produce items than others. And we're going to find out today which one of these machines yields more on things like carrots, things like leafy green vegetables, organic spring mix, and also some tomatoes. Besides just yield, the juice quality or the quality of the juice or how much nutrition is actually in the juice. Some juicers spin or run at a faster RPM. Generally, the higher RPM, the more oxidation that is caused. That's like when you cut open an apple, it turns brown. Well, we don't want to, be drinking oxidized foods. It's not optimal. Another factor could be I want a pulp-free juice, and different juices will make more or less pulp in the juice based on their design. Another factor could be, ease of cleaning. I want to be able to juice and clean it and be done and have it over and be real quick. Some juices are more intricate to clean. So there's always pluses and minuses to every different juicer, and I'm here today to show you these two machines. So let me explain the two different kind of juicers that we have on the table today. This is the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. It's a centrifugal ejection style juicer. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart really quickly and show you how it works. Basically what happens is you put the produce into the top of the machine. It runs into the shredding blade, which shreds up the produce. The shreds are flung against this screen. The juice comes out, is put into this bowl, which comes out the front. And the pulp comes back into the pulp catch bin in the back. Very basic. This design has been out for a long time. This design tends to work better with hard vegetables and hard fruits. Anything that's too soft or leafy really will not work. This is not good for juicing wheatgrass. Over on this side, we have the Vert 350 HD. That's heavy duty. This is called a vertical single auger style juicer. And this works a little bit differently, although they look about the same. Actually the Vert takes a little bit less of a footprint, so that means it takes up less counter space. It's about the same height. This works a lot differently. The Breville over here runs at a maximum speed of 13,000 RPM, so that's really fast. That's faster than most cars would run. This runs at a maximum RPM of 80 RPM, so 80. Much, much, much slower. And so how this works is this little auger spins around, and as the auger spins around, it gets a chunk of produce. It chops off the produce. The produce is then put in this auger and literally crushed and squeezed, and the juice squeezed out of it. One of the nice features on this machine, it has a automatic wiping blade. So this blade comes around and basically wipes off the screen to make sure the screen stays clean and ensures that you get the highest yield. So this is also a really nice design. And also another consideration that you might have is, you want to get a juicer that's quiet, because when you juice in the morning, your family or your roommates are still asleep. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do the weigh-in and start the juice off. So first we're going to juice the carrots. Let's weigh these carrots. We basically have 2.5 pounds of carrots. We're going to put these carrots on the scale. We have the scale teared out for the weight of the bowl, which is evidently 2.25. So we have 2 pounds 8 ounces in this bowl. Let's go ahead and do the weigh out on this bowl right here. Once again, that's 2 pounds 8 ounces. So we have an even amount of carrots in each bowl. Next, let's get juicing. So first, we're going to use the Vert 350 HD. We're going to turn this on. Nice and quiet, runs at, once again, 80 RPMs. Low RPMs means higher quality juice. Let's see how this does juicing some carrots. Literally, it's self-feeding. You could drop a carrot in and let it juice it on up. want to feed in 1 carrot at a time at a nice slow pace. On the occasion that the machine does get overloaded, you simply press the reverse button and then continue. And here's a carrot going in the machine. It just basically chunks off pieces at a time, takes it, and puts out the fresh juice for you to drink. Carrots are definitely something that's really good to be juiced. We can't actually absorb the nutrition in the carrots easily without chewing them really well, and most people don't chew their food well enough. So by juicing the carrots, we basically release all the nutrition out of the fiber. And thereby our bodies can easily assimilate the nutrition in its juice form. As you can see, the carrot pulp is coming out. This carrot pulp is fairly dry here. You can see the automatic wiping blade inside the machine going around and wiping the screen clean each revolution of the juicer. And of course on this side we can see the juice coming out. As you may notice, there's a little bit of foam, but a lot less foam than the Breville when we go next door. All juicers will tend to create a little bit of foam. So we have 1 more carrot to juice. And there you go, we put all the carrots into the Omega Vert 350 HD. Now you don't want to turn the machine off while there is pulp still coming out. Even though we are not putting in more carrots, there's a little bit of a backlog how this machine works. It's still working to extract the maximum amount of juice for you. So we're pretty much good. We'll go ahead and turn that one off. That was the Omega Vert 350 HD. So next we're going to juice in the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. We're going to go ahead and turn this machine on. This runs at 13,000 RPMs. A little bit more noisy, but we can put a couple carrots in at a time. Now you do need to push the carrots into the juicer with this machine. It does take a little bit of force to push them in there. And you can see the pulp getting shaved up and instantly getting kicked into the pulp catch bin. Alright, so now let's compare the results. So first on this side we have the Omega Vert 350 HD, the juice it created. And over on this side we have the Juice Fountain Elite juicer. So let's go ahead and check the results. So it looks like we have about a little bit over 2.5 cups in the Omega Vert 350 HD juice that was created. And over on this side here, if we compare them side by side, you can see it's a baby 2.6 cups, so a little bit more juice than the Omega Vert 350 HD. So the overall yield winner, absolutely the Breville Juice Fountain Elite by a hair. But the other thing you might want to look at too, if you look at it down from the top side, you can't really see it from the side. You can see the aeration in the juice. There's a lot more air in this juice here because it runs at a faster RPM. It basically oxidizes the juice more. So while I did create more, it's probably not as high quality as the slow running Omega Vert juicer. And let's go ahead and then do the taste test. That's a good, fairly pulp-free juice. Tasted just a minute amount of pulp. I can't taste any pulp in the juice made with the juice fountain, but I taste a lot of foam, a lot of aeration in there. As you just saw in the carrot test, the Breville in yield overtook the yield by just a little bit. But in the noise factor, the Breville was a lot louder than the Omega Vert, so if noise is important to you, cleaning, you know, they're fairly easy, both very easy to clean, probably about the same amount of time, but let's check out how it's going to do on tomatoes. But before we do the tomato test, I want to talk about a few other features of both of these machines. So the number one feature that I think is really important, and they always try to sell you an extended warranty when you go and buy, a big appliance or any, appliance. The warranty on the Omega 350 HD Vert juicer is 10 years warranty. So on the Breville Juice Fountain Elite, it's a 1-year warranty. So literally the warranty is 10 years longer on the Omega Vert 350 HD. Now, how does this benefit you? Well, if any time during the 10 years the Omega Vert juicer breaks down due to manufacturer's defect, they'll repair or replace it at their cost. If your Breville breaks down after the first year, maybe in year 2, maybe 1 year and 3 months, guess what? You have to pay for the repairs or buy a new juicer. And so the warranty is a big factor, and I believe it should be really considered when making a juicer purchase. Because after all, a juicer purchase is an investment. And it's an investment in one of the most important things that you own. It's your health. I mean, without your health, you can't do anything. So definitely think about the warranties when you're shopping for a juicer and see which one is going to serve you for the longest amount of time without any future monetary investment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and juice the tomatoes. First, this time we're going to use the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. But before we do, one of the secrets to using the Breville to make cleanup a snap is you're going to take a standard produce bag. And you could also do this on the Omega Vert, actually. You're going to take the pulp catch bin and put the produce bag into the pulp catch bin and line the pulp catch bin with the produce bag. This will make cleanup a lot easier than having to clean out the pulp catch bin. You'll just be able to take the bag out. So once again, we're going to go ahead and put that underneath there. Now we're going to turn the Breville Juice Fountain Elite on half speed. So, in the first test, people have remarked to me, hey John, that juicer sounds like an airplane taking off in my kitchen. And, I don't know how fast airplane propellers spin, but, it's probably closer to 13,000 RPMs. So let's go ahead and turn this on half speed. You can just click it up to the L, up to low. So it's going to run half speed, probably around 6,000, 7,000 RPMs. A lot more quiet. So let's go ahead and take in one tomato, drop it in there, press that in. A lot more easier to feed than the carrots. Nice and easy. And check out that juice coming out. You can see the tomatoes in the clear top. I like the clear top. You can kind of just see them getting pressed up and all the pulp getting ejected out of the back. The other thing is the pulp that's ejected on these tomatoes here. Let's go ahead and stop the machine. This is still fairly a wet pulp. There it is right there. We can literally squeeze the pulp and, it's fairly wet. So now let's juice the 6 tomatoes in the Omega Vert 350 HD juicer. I'm going to go ahead and turn this machine on. A lot more slower, a lot more quiet than the Breville. Drop the tomato in there. And you can see it literally squeeze the tomato and the pulp come out. Alright, so let's feed some more tomatoes in there. You can see the machine spin around. We're going to drop the tomato in there and it literally gets crushed. So you can see the tomato pulp coming out of the machine. Looks like a nice tomato sauce. There's a flap inside this machine that keeps the pulp inside the machine to ensure it gets a full and complete extraction. Runs at a nice slow 80 RPMs. The pulp is slowly coming out, nice and compacted. Really easy. So we're going to let this run until the pulp stops coming out and the juice stops dribbling out, because it still is working. Alright, that looks like enough for me. We're going to go ahead and stop the machine. We're going to tip the Vert up, get that last bit of juice out, and we're going to check the results. There's Omega Vert 350 HD. Tip this Breville up, a little bit more juice there in the bowl, and get that juice over. So here are the results. On this side we have the Omega Vert VRT350 HD, and this is the true beauty of the Omega Vert. You can definitely see this now with the tomato juice. Check out the color of this tomato juice, much, much darker. We're getting a separation on this juice here. It's almost like the bottom is tomato water, then you get a lot of foam or froth. And that's because this machine is running at 6,500 or thereabouts RPM. The higher RPM, the more oxygen that's introduced, and you get this juice separation. So on the Omega Vert, it's just a total complete juice, nice and dark and rich. And also, let's check the yields now. So the yield on the Omega Vert, the juice aspect, not counting the foam, is about 1.5 cups. Over here on this Juice Fountain Elite, looks like we have about 1 cup of juice and then also a lot of foam. So next, let's go ahead and try this juice. Tastes like a V8. That was the Omega Vert. Nice flavor. Now this is a thick juice. It's not as thin as carrot. Now the juice made with the Omega Vert tasted like a full-bodied juice, and you can tell by the color. I mean, that's a full-bodied juice. When I drank the juice out of the Juice Fountain Elite, it looks like it tastes. It tastes pretty much just like the water out of the tomatoes. So there you have it. Clear winner juicing tomatoes, Omega Vert 350 HD. More yield and higher quality juice to boot. So we just got done juicing the Roma tomatoes, and that one definitely had to go to the Omega Vert. Had a higher yield and also had a richer quality juice. That being said, Juice Fountain Elite did yield more on the carrot. So the score is 1-1. Next up, we got the Leafy Greens. So now let's do the weigh-in on the organic spring mix. We're going to take this bowl here, put it on the scale, and we're juicing 1 additional carrot. It's 11.2 ounces without the carrot. Now we're going to add the carrot. Total of 14 ounces of produce. Take that one off. We're going to go ahead and put this one on. Without the carrot, 11.2 ounces. Add the carrot in, 14 ounces. So this is a total of 14 ounces of produce we're going to juice in both of the juicers. So first we're going to juice in the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. We're going to turn that on to low speed, and we are going to juice the carrot last in both juicers. Turn that on. We're going to stuff down the leaves into the feed chute, and we're going to literally pack in all the leaves before we push them in. If we just start to push in one leaf at a time, then they will definitely not be juiced, and you're not going to get a high yield, because basically this juicer will kick out all the leaves if you feed them in one at a time. We need to make a big bundle of leaves and then push them in slowly into the juicer to get the highest yield when using a centrifugal ejection style juicer on the Leafy Greens. If you did want to juice all Leafy Greens, I definitely do not recommend this style juicer. We're going to go ahead and continue. It's a little bit difficult to get all the leaves into the machine very carefully without them flying everywhere. So we're literally just loading up this feed chute with the leaves. And as you can see, we haven't started yet to juice them. They're still all just loaded up in this feed chute. They're still feeding leaves. Some of them are getting pushed through. The feed chute is getting rather full. Last bit of leaves into the feed chute. Now this is a 3-inch wide feed chute, so it does make feeding them into the feed chute a little bit easy. Now you can see here our bowl is almost empty. And that's all the leaves in this bowl here. Next we're going to take the pusher and slowly push down the Leafy Greens. If you push too fast, you're going to not get as much yield as you could. So we're going to juice them very slowly, put slow and constant pressure on the machine, and look at all that dark green juice come out. So once again, I don't recommend drinking straight green juice. It can have very detoxifying effects or cleansing effects on your body. Plus, it doesn't taste so good either. So unless you're an expert or been doing it for a long time, don't drink straight green juice. I recommend using 3/4 of the cup of carrot, apple, celery, and cucumbers, and just only 1/4 of the cup of the leafy greens. So you can see there now there's no more leaves in the feed chute. But now what I want to do, just to help to clean the juicer out, we're going to put 1 carrot in there. That's going to definitely make sure all the leafy green juice comes out of the machine. And you can see now the green juice is coming out along with the carrot juice. And now we're pretty much getting the orange juice out. So that's pretty much it for juicing the leafy greens and the carrot in the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. Let that rest, and now we're going to go over here to the Omega VRT350HD. Turn this on, nice and quiet. We're going to take our carrot, put it aside. We are juicing the carrot last. Now, if you did want to juice straight leafy greens, you know, the Omega Vert will do it, but you know what? The Omega Vert definitely needs hard fibrous material to push the pulp through the machine. If you did want to juice all leafy greens, and did just do only the leafy greens without the carrot at the end, then this will not work quite as well. So if you did want to focus on juicing only leafy greens, once again, you want to go for maybe like an Omega 8004 or 8006. Be sure to check my other videos on comparisons of the Omega Vert versus the Omega 8004 and the 8006 to see, you know, if it's going to better meet your needs. Because buying a juicer is all about getting the machine that's best going to meet your needs and juice what you want to juice. That being said, the Omega Vert, in my opinion, is definitely a good, well-rounded juicer, and it does well with juicing leafy greens as long as you're juicing other things with it, such as carrots, celery, or cucumbers, apples even. So you can see here we're slowly pushing the greens in, and we are getting some green juice out, and we're not getting any pulp out yet. Now, why is that? That's because inside the Omega Vert juicer, it's literally squeezing out all the juice out of the leaves, and it's allowing the leaves to stay inside the machine until it gets a full extraction. Then and only then does it allow the pulp to come out of the machine. So this style juicer in general should be and should make a lot higher yield than the Breville Juice Fountain Elite, and we'll be sure to check out the pulp on both juicers after we're done juicing all these leafy greens. So I'm probably about halfway done feeding the leafy greens in. Once again, this does take a while to feed in the spring mix, and in most cases spring mix is probably one of the least expensive choices for leafy greens in most parts of the country, because these are sold at warehouse stores. Sometimes organic leafy greens can be difficult to find. That being said, I would rather juice, you know, whole heads of spinach or kale or even romaine hearts before I would, you know, juice spring mix. But I do like to juice spring mix and the organic baby spinach sometimes. So you can see here we're still feeding in the leafy greens, and you know, the pulp is still not being ejected from the Omega Vert 350 HD juicer. Go ahead and push this in a little bit, give it some help. And now you can finally see some of the pulp coming out of the Omega VRT 350 HD juicer. It's coming out very slow, and that is because that is a really super dry pulp. So this is the last bit of the leafy greens going into the Omega Vert 350 HD juicer. And there's more pulp coming out of the Omega Vert 350 HD. Now here's our last handful of greens that we're going to put into the Omega Vert 350 right here. And that'll do it. And now we're going to stick in our carrot. Now you can finally see the pulp to start coming out of the Omega Vert 350 HD. And the juice now is literally streaming out of the machine. This is because basically a lot of the leafy greens were still stuck inside the machine until the point we put the carrot in, and then now all the hard carrot fiber is able to help push out all that green fiber from the leafy greens and give us a nice valuable juice. So that's why the Omega doesn't necessarily juice straight leafy greens too well, but you need some other kind of fiber source, and once you give it that, then it's going to work properly. So if you want to do a lot of combinations or mixed juices, the Omega Vert 350 HD is definitely going to do a much better job. So you can see here when the Omega Vert 350 HD stops ejecting the pulp, and we can see pretty much it stopped ejecting the pulp. We're going to go ahead and turn off the machine because that's about as much as it's going to yield. And now we get to check the results. So first we're going to pour this off, see if there's any extra juice in there. Then we're going to lift up the Breville Elite, see if there's any extra juice in there dripping out. Not much. And then we're going to, compare the results. So as you can see, we have the results here, and both juicers produced just about 1 cup of juice on the Omega Vert 350 HD. You see it's about 1 cup of juice, and this is a clear, fine juice with no separation. Then it also made probably about another 4 ounces of foam. Now if we stir the foam in, that'll basically increase the yield on the Omega Vert 350 HD. Over here on the Breville Juice Fountain Elite, you can see here we have about also pretty much 1 cup of juice, but we do see, if you look really closely, a layering effect or juice separation, and that's because it is running at a much higher speed, 6,500 RPM compared to the 80 RPM on the Omega Vert 350 HD. So yield-wise, they produced, pretty much the same. Well, actually, unless you stir in the foam, but we do have the juice separation. So definitely the Omega Vert made a higher quality juice overall on the leafy greens. So next, we're going to show you the pulp. So here's the pulp out of the Omega Vert 350 HD, and here is the pulp out of the Breville Juice Fountain Elite. As you can see, the story of the pulp tells a lot. Basically, you can see whole leaves here in the centrifugal ejection pulp. I mean, there is some smaller, fine particles, but you do see some larger bits here. So that's because this machine is not totally effective on the leafy greens. So, on the carrots, basically you don't see any pieces of carrots. You just see all carrot pulp. But let's move over here to the Omega Vert pulp next. Over here, you just see all the leafy greens. You can't even see them recognizable anymore. I mean, it's just all mixed in pulp. So that'll do it. Let's go ahead and move into the summary next, and we'll sum up all our findings. So to sum it up, both these juicers did an amazing job on juicing everything we threw at them today, although there was some differences. Of course, the Juice Fountain Elite worked the best on the carrots, hands down, yielded more nice, pulp-free juice, although it tastes a bit more watery to me. Omega Vert 350 HD didn't quite yield as much on the carrots, but made a more of a full-bodied juice with a little bit of pulp in there. Now on the tomatoes, different story. Once again, the Omega Vert 350 HD yielded more juice and also had a full, rich, thick juice. Remember that full, red, rich, full-body juice? The Juice Fountain Elite basically had a watery juice that separated. Not too good. Basically, that's happening because of all the oxygen being introduced into the juice. More oxygen equals more oxidation, which is not necessarily too good. On the leafy greens, of course, the Omega Vert 350 HD did much better than the Breville Juice Fountain Elite, and that's because a single auger style juicer is basically known for juicing leafy greens. This will also juice wheatgrass, whereas the Juice Fountain Elite will not juice any wheatgrass. But nonetheless, it comes down to pick the juicer that's going to work best for you. If you said, hey John, I want to juice carrots and apples all the time, well guess what? Then the Juice Fountain Elite or another wide feed chute centrifugal ejection juicer is going to be better for you because you can just feed those in with minimal cutting. It's going to do a good job on those hard vegetables and hard fruits. The Omegas also do those, but also, it's going to take a little more time and more cutting because a feed chute is much smaller. But on the other hand, if you want to do something like, leafy greens and tomatoes, well then, easily this machine's going to do a lot better. DiscountJuicers.com recommends the Omega Vert 350 HD over the Breville Juice Fountain Elite for a few reasons. Number one, the warranty. Juicer is an investment. It's an investment in your health. 1-year warranty, 10-year warranty. Otherwise, on most things you're going to juice, especially the softer fruits and the leafy greens, the Omega Vert 350 is going to actually yield more. On things like harder vegetables like carrots and apples, well, that's where the Breville Juice Fountain Elite is actually going to yield more. So if you want to juice like apples and carrots all day, then this is your baby because it's going to juice, it's going to do a fairly good job and actually get a fairly high yield with minimal, cutting because it does have a 3-inch wide feed chute. That, on the other hand, if you want to be able to juice a wide variety and a much wider variety, then that's where the Omega Vert 350 HD is going to come in. Over a wider variety of fruits and vegetables, it's going to make a higher yield. Of course, it's something like carrots, it's not going to yield quite as much, but almost as much. But also, you got to think about, besides just the yield, it's the quality of the juice. And why are you juicing in the first place? Hopefully, it's to improve your health. So why not give yourself every possible advantage? And every possible advantage is higher quality juice because of the lower RPM. So a little bit of extra nutrition can go a long way, especially when you're out eating other things that you maybe shouldn't be eating at fast food joints. So once again, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.